Hi, I'm Teresa Martin from Lower Cape TV, and your host for The Minds of Summer, produced in partnership with the Cape Cod Institute, which brings leading thinkers and doers from around the world to its renowned week-long workshops right here on the Outer Cape. So, I'm dressed a little different from my usual attire. Well, once I heard today's guest, Amy Weintraub, was a pioneer in the field of yoga and mental health, and the founding director of Life Force Yoga, and author of Yoga for Depression and a number of other books and DVDs. Well, I figured I should dress for the guest and the topic, right? And so, not being a natural athletic type, I went to the store and I picked out all these different clothing items that had little yoga logos on them. But, the funny thing is that Amy says yoga has a role in all kinds of settings, and it isn't about the clothes and the right logos at all. Well, welcome, Amy. Thank you so much for being with us
Thank you,
today.
Teresa.
Yoga is so heavily marketed right now, and I know you have a very different viewpoint of it. It's a fitness trend, but that's not really what it's about.
No, it's really so much bigger than what we think of as postures. There's so many attributes and so many practices in yoga that can really work therapeutically. And so yoga can be done in almost any setting. In fact, any setting, because all you need to do is breathe, and you're doing some yoga practice. All you need are your fingers to do mudras, hand gestures. There are more nerve endings in the fingers than most other parts of the body. So simply doing hand gestures can actually direct the breath to different parts of the body. For example, if you were having trouble breathing and you weren't able to take a deep breath, we could do a mudra called Hakini mudra, just touching our fingers together like this, and the breath would deepen. Just simply holding our fingers together brings the breath into the full, all three lobes of the lungs. The lungs are filled when we use Hakini mudra. So there's very simple things. There are things that you could do at work. There are things that you could do in the grocery store if you're getting overwhelmed by the products. Or, there are things that you can do in any setting, really, that are yoga practices.
Well, you wrote a book called Yoga for Depression, and you founded Life Force Yoga, which I assume must draw off some of these things. Can you talk a little bit more about how you got to this point?
Well, first of all, from my perspective, I was someone who had suffered from depression and was on antidepressants for many years. And literally, I wouldn't be here talking to you if I hadn't found yoga. I was that depressed. I had been on antidepressants probably for 9 or 10 years. And I began a yoga practice, and this was way before there was any information about yoga and mental health, yoga for depression. And I started feeling better and better and better. And little by little, working with a psychiatrist, my prescribing psychiatrist, I was able to slowly titrate off the medication because I was doing yoga every day. And I became passionate about researching why that happened, why that affected my life in such a positive way, so transformational. So I began to do research, and then I became a yoga teacher. This was back in the late 80s. And was passionate about sharing what had transformed my life with other people. And I began writing articles. I wrote an article for Yoga Journal many years ago called Yoga the Natural Prozac. And that was the first yoga article that was about mental health. And so I started teaching yoga for mental health. And it's not just about, you look great in your yoga togs, I have to say.
Thank you.
Yes, it was worth the investment. You look great. But you could be sitting here in regular work clothes, you could be in a skirt, and we could do practices together that would help you regulate your mood, that would help you meet if you were feeling lethargic, if you were feeling like you couldn't get out of bed in the morning, if you were feeling like you couldn't get off the couch
Right.
when the remote died to change the channel, we'd be able to do some practices to be able to give you a little more energy, a little more life force, which is why we call it life
I was
force
going to ask
yoga.
this life force. I love that.
Well,
You know, a million years ago, I did yoga when I lived in Cambridge.
Uh-huh.
And it was like, it wasn't a fancy thing, and everyone was there kind of in T-shirts. And it was a lot about meditation as well.
Oh,
and
that's
I
good.
really enjoyed it. And then I moved to Athletic, Colorado.
Right.
And I kid you not, they actually called it competitive yoga.
Wow.
And it was like, and that whole life force concept I find really appealing. And someplace it seems to have disappeared.
Well, you know, I think more and more, though, because there's been so much research, and you're talking about the West Coast, too, and Colorado. That's a little different. But, no, but there's been more and more research. Even that West Coast is changing, because I teach all over the country and in other places as well. I teach in Encinitas, California, and now they're hungry for what I have to teach. It used to be that they only did, you know, strong vinyasa style, you know, jumping around, Ashtanga yoga. Now they're hungry for therapeutic yoga there. Because there's been so much research and a number of books. Mine was the first book, Yoga for Depression, on yoga and mental health, that speak to the therapeutic value of yoga, and that you don't have to be lithe in a yoga body and wear the right clothes. And you know, but back in the 70s, you know, we all had to be fit and strong. But now, now physicians are recommending to their clients, their patients, that they go take a yoga class. And so more and more people are coming who've never done yoga before, who are not, you know, 18 to 24-year-olds. They could be 55, 75, 80 for the first time coming to a yoga class with all kinds of therapeutic issues. They may have back issues, they may have knee issues, they may have mental health issues or depression or anxiety. And so yoga has become much more oriented towards therapeutic application. So what I offer, Life Force Yoga, is specific to mental health. So, I mean, we use postures when appropriate. Life Force Yoga can be used in a yoga setting, yoga therapy setting, but it also can be used in clinical settings, as it is. It's used in treatment facilities, recovery programs throughout the world.
You talked about, you used the word empirical a few different times in your book.
Evidence-based, yeah.
Evidence-based. What proves this works? Like, what is that evidence?
There's a multitude of studies, and it's growing. Many studies on the efficacy of using yoga to manage mood, be it anxiety or depression. In particular, I'll just mention two studies because they're on the Life Force Yoga protocol that we've developed. So there was a study with over 90 participants that looked at the profile of mood states, which is and also the Beck Depression Inventory. And depression scores were cut in half after 2 weeks of practice, and after and then it continued to decline after 2 months of practice. The depression scores continued to decline.
And so that's a way of measuring the mood of somebody. You
Yes.
measure it before and after.
Before and after, but it wasn't just before and after, because people would feel so clear and so wonderful after yoga practice. It was 2 weeks. We measured 2 weeks before, and then 2 weeks later, and 2 months later. It was, we had worked with Harvard researcher and someone at UCLA, and that was published. We've also done the Life Force Yoga Yoga Nidra practice, which is good for post-traumatic stress disorder, has been studied. There are a number of studies, though. Those are just particular to Life Force Yoga. But yoga has been shown to reduce cortisol levels, which is the fight or flight stress hormone, to raise GABA levels, which are, GABA is low in depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder. It's been shown to, well, first of all, deepen the breath, when we're anxious and depressed, we're often upper chest breathers. We're unable to get the breath down into the bottom of the lungs. So we do things that open the chest, open the lungs. We do some breathing that meets that agitated state. So we don't just do something. We don't have you like say, oh, you're anxious, lie down and breathe deeply. Because what's going to happen, although some people would say that's what you should do. They'll say you need restorative yoga. You need to lie down and breathe deeply. The thing is, if you're really anxious and you lie down and breathe deeply, you're going to get more anxious. Yeah, it's like, I need to move. You need to burn some of that off if you're anxious. Like my daughter, she came to she's type A. She was like in the middle of editing something. She's doing some films. She came from New York City to the sleepy town of Tucson, where I live. And I took her to my friend's yoga class, and she started everybody in a restorative pose with eye pillows, lofting the lavender, and giving little shoulder massages. And suddenly I heard my friend Maria say, I have never seen anyone text in a yoga class before.
Are you kidding?
And that was my daughter. She needed to get up and do some movement and some breathing to release that agitation before she could relax. Whereas someone who's a couch potato, they're not going to go out and do 108 sun salutations or a lot of vigorous practice. They'll never comply with that. They need something that meets them where they are. So a restorative practice, beginning gently with stair-step breath, that's become, in Life Force Yoga, stair-step breath has become well, it's based on Anuloma and Viloma Krama, which are the Sanskrit, but it meets the mood. It's little steps of breath. And do you want to try it?
Sure. Let me just toss it out of the way here.
So let's say we were a little bit agitated, and 80% of the time, anxiety is commingled with depression. So even though we may have depressed mood, we may feel a little agitation.
Would this work just in general? I mean, in our life, we have moments where we feel anxious.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to, fill in the blank, speak in front of people.
Exactly. Well, there are a number of techniques, but this one in particular is good because it meets both anxiety and depression. Because what we're going to do is through the nostrils take little steps of breath as though we're climbing a mountain. Little steps of breath as though we're climbing a mountain through the nostrils. So in other words, if you were an upper chest breather and you were close to a panic attack and you couldn't catch your breath, we're meeting that agitation with those little steps of breath. And then we're going to take an elevator ride down. Okay? So someone who's really agitated, they need to slow down the breath. But if you tell them to slow down the breath, it's not going to happen.
You can't even hear it.
So by doing this, we'll try a couple of rounds, okay?
Okay.
So if you're comfortable, you can allow your eyes to close. If not, you can keep them open. I'll keep mine open so I can watch you. And we'll take little steps of breath. So at your own pace, when you get to the top, then slide down the mountain. Beautiful. And then again, take little steps of breath. At your own pace, when you get to the top of the mountain, look out, see something beautiful, and slide down the mountain. And let's try that one more time. Little steps of breath as though you're climbing a mountain. At your own pace, when you get to the top, look out, see something beautiful, and slide down the mountain. And as you're ready, you can allow your eyes to open.
That's nice, actually.
So what that does, do you want to say anything about how it felt? Or
Actually, the breathing out at the end was much more effective because it wasn't just, it was...
Yeah, so And, some people will say, don't give me any of that breathing stuff. Maybe they went to a yoga class and they were taught supposedly to breathe down to the bottom of their lungs and they couldn't do it. So they felt inadequate or like, I can't do that yoga breathing stuff. Or they tried the breath, and sometimes when we breathe deeply, when we've been upper chest breathers, there's a good reason for that. We're tamping down a lot of feelings, and we don't want to feel them. So if someone says to you, breathe deeply, breathe down to the bottom of the lungs, you're either A, not going to be able to do it because you are an upper chest breather, so you're going to feel like a failure,
Right.
or B, you're going to do it and all of a sudden there's going to be a flood of emotion. Because as we tap into that deeper diaphragmatic breath and we relax into the psoas, then sometimes emotion bubbles up. Now that's fine in a therapeutic setting after there's a strong therapeutic relationship of maybe 4 or 5 sessions, then some emotion comes up, that's fine. But if you're just at the very first time you've ever tried yoga and all of a sudden you start sobbing, you could be scared. You can be exactly. So sometimes you go to a yoga class and you're encouraged to breathe deeply. That may not be the best practice for everyone. It may be better to meet that agitation and then let it go. And then if you're depressed, the next step would be to take an elevator ride to the top of the mountain and little steps down. Can I touch your belly?
Yes, you can.
Notice what's happening in your belly as you're taking those little steps down. What's happening?
It's going in and out.
It's going in and out, which for depression is one of the best things you can do. Because this is the solar plexus, the seat of self-esteem, power, identity. And when we're depressed, often there's a slump posture. We're not getting enough breath down to the bottom of the lungs. There's this kind of dormancy in the solar plexus. So when we can do a little bit of gentle belly pumping like that, we're stimulating the vagus nerve. We're activating both the actually heart rate variability raises, which is that balance between sympathetic, active involvement and parasympathetic quiet, calming state.
It's really interesting what you're saying versus some of the yoga that many people have experienced. It's a sense of yoga is something you have to explicitly learn how to do it, and you're always getting corrected, and you're probably not doing it right.
Wow. I say to someone, if they go to a class and they walk out feeling like they didn't get it right, not good enough, there's something wrong with me, or my body isn't quite right for this, find another yoga class. That's not yoga. That's some kind of exercise, and it might be good for some people, but yoga is about connection. Yoga is about clearing the constrictions, and and removing the constrictions, so you feel more energy, more room inside for you. And if you walk out of a class feeling less connected, and more constricted, then you need to find another teacher, another class. There are many styles of yoga out there, and that you just happened into the one that was not for you.
That's why I like that life force term that you use, because that seems, this notion of energy and the mind and the body doing things to manage our own energy.
The real point of yoga is that no matter what you're practicing, you're removing the obstructions. We're not creating energy. We're not creating life force. What we're doing is removing the obstructions, the constrictions, so that your own life force, your own healing energy awakens. It's there. It's just been tamped down. It's been constricted by life, by betrayal that we all have.
Up on yourself.
Even if we're anxious, we're just not in touch. We've got so many layers that are covering up our natural life force, and by doing these practices, we're clearing the space, we're removing the obstruction, so that your own life force flows and you feel much more spacious.
Can you show me how some of that works?
Sure. Well, okay. Why don't we stand up? Would you be willing to stand up? Okay. And so coming off the chairs, and coming into a position.
I'm going to face you, so I see what you're doing, or?
It's fine with me. If you face, maybe we can angle out, but I'm going to face you because I
Okay.
want to see what you're doing.
Okay.
Okay, so let's say you were feeling really nervous and agitated, you know. So let's meet that state of agitation
Okay, so I'm like-
with a little bit of pulling prana. Now this is good too if you're depressed because it lifts the energy. So we're going to do it. We're going to pull prana. So I don't need to give you any instruction. We're just going to reach our hands up like this, and we're just going to pull through the nostrils. Bend your knees because that grounds it. If you don't bend your knees, you could get too lightheaded. So bending. Okay, yeah, move. Yeah, we can do this. Yeah. There we go. Through the nostrils. And if you wish, you can close your eyes or look down at the floor. So just imagine that you're pulling whatever you need to support your vision for your life, whatever you need to support your energy, to support your focus, your clarity. And then pulling forward and back. That's good. Yeah.
Opposite of you,
That's all right. No, I think we're doing fine. And then, like you're cross-country skiing, reaching across whatever obstacles block your full expression of yourself in the world. So reaching across those obstacles, reaching for what you need to support your life. Just, if you want, you can just call out what you need. Yeah, call out. What are you reaching for?
Call out, like,
oh, joy. Yeah, we just finished a training and people were going, joy and clarity and peace. And,
happy.
yeah, reaching for what you need. Okay, and then close your eyes for a moment and sense the energy shining in your face, your arms, your palms, your fingertips. Sense the energy shining. This is your birthright, this awakened energy. So inhale to your crown, I am. Exhale to your feet here. So try breathing through the nostrils. Inhale to the crown, I am. Exhale to your feet here. Grounded, ready. And then as you're ready, you can allow your eyes to open. So how do you feel?
I like that feeling of grounded.
Yeah.
It sounds, I mean, people not doing this might think it sounds not believable, but you really feel like your feet grow into the ground. Like I feel this connection between the bottom of my feet and that which I'm standing on.
Oh, great.
It's very cool.
Well, see, what that does is just doing this stimulates the sympathetic, so it's a little energizing, revs us up. But then when we stop and we cue to direct sensation, notice I didn't say feel the sensations in your body.
Right.
That's too global. So if you were really anxious, you'd be saying, what am I supposed to feel? What am I supposed to feel? I cued you to direct sensation, your face, your palms, your fingers. And then I grounded it by saying, inhale to the crown, I am. Exhale to your feet.
Yes.
Here. So you want to try something else?
Sure.
Okay. Inhale. Make fists. Sustain the breath. Pump your arms. So sustain the breath. I heard you breathe.
You heard me breathe. Okay.
Let's try it again. Inhale. Now, if you need to breathe, that's fine. I mean, listen to your body. You're doing great. And then when you need to, at your own pace, release. Allow the eyes to remain closed. Sensing, again, face, arms, palms, fingertips. This is your birthright, this energy, shimmering. Sense it. Fingertips. The spaces between your fingers. Inhale to the crown, I am. Exhale to your feet, here. Grounded, ready. And as you're ready, you can allow your eyes to open. So how do you
That's
feel?
nice. You know, I like the breathing from the crown, the moment of being in the moment.
Yes.
Just, I am here.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
I do that. We do that in Life with Yoga after every sequence because we want to ground and just be present. That's exactly it. I'm going to take my sweater off if that's okay. So, are you ready for another one?
I am. I'm
Okay.
ready.
So this is wonderful for giving voice. You know, Gandhi's mantra was Ram. And he went from being an insecure with a barrister in the UK, as you probably know. He would run out of the courtroom rather than represent his client because he had such an inferiority complex. And then when he embraced his own culture, and when he embraced his belief system and he took on the mantra Ram, he transformed the face of India and the face of the world with ahimsa, nonviolence. So Ram is a very powerful word. It's the mantra for the solar plexus, self-esteem, power, identity. So when we're depressed, we want to be more active here with twists. We want to be more active. When I said earlier a little bit of pumping of the belly. So we're going to do something called the power hara.
The power hara?
Power hara.
Oh, I like
the
power hara.
Yeah. So we're going to bring the hands. So we need a nice wide shot to get this because our hands are going to be at the shoulder level. Okay. And then we're going to inhale to the left.
This way.
So.
No, this way.
Yeah, inhale to the left. Exhale to the right. Sorry, we're going to inhale twice. So it's going to inhale to the left, inhale to the right, and then exhale, ha, exhale, ha. And then we're going to add Ram. So our arms are going to be way out, guys. Okay. So again, we're going to start with ha, and then we're going to go to Ram. Okay. So inhale to the left, inhale to the right, exhale, ha. Exhale, ha. 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 So most of the movement is in the upper body. Ha. 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 Now let's go to Ram.
Ram. Ram. Ram. Ram. Ram. Ram.
Two more.
Ram. Ram.
Last one.
Ram. Ram.
Beautiful. Close your eyes, open your palms. Sense the energy shining in your face, your shoulders, your arms, your palms. Feel the radiance, the ginger ale feeling in your fingertips. Perhaps energy shimmering between your fingers around you. How much bigger your energy is than the limits of your physical body. Sense how much bigger your energy is than the limits of this room. No separation between the ocean of healing energy that surrounds you and the rivers of healing energy flowing through you. Inhale to your crown, I am. Exhale to your feet, here, grounded, ready. And as you're ready, you can allow your eyes to open. How do you feel?
I love that ginger ale bubbles. I actually felt a little like tingling. It was.
Yeah. Well, see, you know, the thing with people, especially people who've had trauma in their lives, or a lot of depression, they're living from the neck up. You know, how many people do you know who will tell you, I can't feel my feelings, my body. They live from the neck up. So this is a subtle way to bring them into the body. When you cue to sensation in the palms, then the body is always present. The mind's a time traveler, so you're leaping across that resistance, that fear of being in the body, and allowing them to reoccupy their body.
That's so beautiful. And I just got a flag. We only have a minute left.
Oh my goodness.
I feel like we've just gotten started.
Let's sit down and do a little
Okay.
calming practice.
Okay.
All of these
this
practices
is-
are on the website. They're free. A lot of downloads.
What's that website again?
Yoga for Depression.
yogafordepression.com.
Yeah, they're all on the website, and you can download them for free. And there's I teach all over the world, so I'm happy. I do with small groups, and so let's just take an image that's soothing and serene, maybe from nature, maybe a time when you felt calm. And let's inhale the arms up in front of the heart and see that soothing image shining in your heart's mind. Draw it to your heart with so hum. So hum. And one more time. Inhale the arms out. Embrace that soothing image shining in your heart's mind. Draw it in with so hum. And give your heart a little rock. That image is on the altar of your heart. Anytime you need a moment of peace, tranquility, and ease. Namaste, Teresa.
Thank you so much. This has been Amy Weintraub. I'm Teresa Martin with Lower Cape TV, and I don't want this to end. This is wonderful.
It's fun.
It is.